want to talk about just being yourself. Because people keep giving like this toxic advice that you should not change yourself. You should not change who you are for someone else. You should not change who you are just so that someone else will finally like you. And I think there is some truth to it, because if you constantly keep changing who you are just so that other people can like you, then some people can actually use that to their own advantage and they can manipulate you. So there is some truth to the advice that people give when they say you should not have to change who you are for someone else. However, it is a toxic advice nonetheless. Because this is what I have been doing. I have been myself for the last few years, and I kept getting brutally rejected. No one was really attracted to me, and I kept telling myself, oh, it's because I am not right for them, but there is someone out there for me. I am amazing. I refuse to change myself just so that I can get a girlfriend and stuff. And so I continued being myself, but no one was attracted to me. I did not have any strong relationships or strong bonds with people, and I was being myself. I then started this channel, and I was still being myself, and my videos still performed poorly, and I received a lot of hate. And all of this made me realize, perhaps I should not be myself. Perhaps I am the only person on this planet that actually has to change who he is. Because here is what no one ever talks about. Being yourself and not having to change things about yourself, not having to conform to the societal expectations and your parental expectations, that kind of stuff. That is all great advice if you want to be like a hermit, if you want to be alone for the rest of your life. But if you want to start a family, aka if you want to attract someone that you can build a family together with, if you want to have a job, aka you want someone to find you good enough for a job, and you want to make good friends, then to some level you have to be someone that they can like. And sometimes if you are too comfortable with being yourself and you are too stubborn to change who you are just so that other people can like you, and you are an unlikable person, then you will not get any of that. You will be alone for the rest of your life. And so it is such a confusing world that we live in. We keep hearing this advice that you should not change who you are for someone else. You should have self-respect. But self-respect and being yourself only gets you so far. Eventually you will have to change certain things within yourself, or else no one will ever like you. And this is why recently I had to sit down and I had to ask myself, what things within me am I willing to change? And what things am I not willing to change? Because what I realized is that there are some things that I am willing to change completely if it means other people can like me more, and that girls and women can finally start being genuinely attracted to me so that I can start a family, so that employers can finally be impressed so that they can hire me and all that kind of stuff. There are certain things that I am willing to change in order to please the people that I need to please in my life. And then there are things that I am not willing to change, because if I change those things, that is when I will lose my own identity, I will lose myself. And so I had to sit down and ask myself, what things am I willing to change? What things am I not willing to change? And I realized that I can start with the things that I am not willing to change. And I can tell you those things. Here, it is possible that I am asking for too much. Maybe in the future I will change my mind. But for now, there are like 3 main things that I refuse to change about myself. And anyone who wants to be friends with me, anyone who wants to be in a romantic relationship with me or anything, will have to accept that those 3 things I am not willing to change, because those are basically the things that shape my identity. So the first thing is that I need to have an identity. I need to have a sense of an identity. And I usually base my identity around a TV or movie character. And this is because I'm very passionate about entertainment. I grew up watching a lot of like TV series, a lot of movies and stuff. And I saw a bunch of like TV characters, movie characters. And I was like, wow, they are so cool. And to this day, I like to base my own identity around several characters, movie and TV characters. Now, the question is probably which characters I am basing my identity around. Like, a few years ago, I guess I based my identity around like the hyper-masculine toxic characters, I guess. Like, we see all the Gen Alpha, like TikTok kids that make those Sigma edits with Patrick Bateman. Like, I think Patrick Bateman was at one point someone that I based my identity around, which was probably not the healthiest character to base your identity around, because Patrick Bateman is a serial killer. But nowadays I base my identity around characters from Squid Game and Alice in Borderland. But the second thing I am not willing to change about myself is that because I am so passionate about entertainment, and because I like entertaining characters, TV and movie characters, I feel like I have to be an entertaining character myself. And I know it's kind of taboo, like here in Sweden. Like here in Sweden, you are not supposed to stand out from the crowd. You're supposed to just, what is it called? Float in. Blend in. Oh yeah, blend in with everyone else. But a character that blends in my opinion, is not entertaining, and I need to be entertaining. I understand that some Swedish people might not find this a good thing, they might be repulsed by it, but I think there are people out there that are more appreciative of someone who tries to stand out, of someone who wants to be unique, who wants to be more eccentric and stuff. And this is also why I usually don't base my identity around real life people, because most real life people are not entertaining enough. Like, they are boring, they have a boring 9-to-5 job, they have a boring family, and so like they might actually be role models, they might have like a healthy marriage, a healthy outlook on life, a healthy like family, and so I am supposed to look up to them. but I don't, because they are not entertaining enough. And I wish they were more entertaining, then I would look up to them. So this is why I usually base my identity around fictional characters rather than real life characters. And so I feel the need to be an entertaining, like a TV or movie character myself. The third thing I'm not willing to change is that whenever I say or do something that I think is entertaining, like I just say like a badass quote or something, I feel proud of myself. And I know this doesn't matter, because, like they say, people don't remember what you say or do, people only remember how you make them feel. But the things I say or do tend to be so badass that I do feel proud of myself. And I want to keep having that pride, because that pride is like the only time I feel genuine happiness in my life. I am like, wow, I am such a badass character. And so I need to have like an entertaining identity for myself. That is something I do not want to change about myself. But the things I am willing to change so that I can attract more people into my life would rather be like my style, my look, the way I carry myself, like being comfortable with who I am. That is something I am willing to change, which is why that is something I am currently working on. I am going to the gym because I desperately want to be bigger. People to this day tell me in the comments that I should be bigger, I should be more muscular. So I am going strong. I'm going strong with the lat pull downs. Yesterday I went really hard at the gym. I felt completely fatigued. Like after that, I did a bunch of lat pull downs. I did a bunch of lateral raises and stuff, and I did a bunch of rows. It was really challenging, and that is what I am willing to change. I am willing to change myself so that I can look better, so that I can act better. But like my personality and my need to be an entertaining character, that is something I am not willing to change, at least not at the moment. But I would like to know what you think about this. If I am having realistic expectations for myself in life or not. But this is basically how I think at the moment.